This is the Weekend Tailgate. Brought to you by Golden's Cast Iron. C-Dub. Ike Jones. Be Will. By G. You are now listening to
Weekend Tailgate brought to you by our friends at Golden's Cast Iron. Visit goldenscastiron.com/WR. Use code TWR for $65 off fire pits and Kamado grills and code Get Your Weight Up for 15% off your weights. It's time to be outside, guys. This fall, the weather is about to be beautiful in Alabama. You want to be outside with your family, working out, grilling out, or chilling out with Golden's Cast Iron. We appreciate them for always sponsoring this segment. Also want to encourage everybody to become a patron. We had a wild in-game experience, Caesar, with Auburn and Oklahoma going at each other. You guys, let us know how you feel in the post game, and I'm sure you're going to let us know how you feel. But if you want to get in on future post games, do us a favor. Join as a patron member. Lots of patron-only perks, including halftime chats and game day chats we reserve only for our patrons. So join up. We appreciate you guys for doing that. Want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, sleep, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. Longtime sponsors of the War Report. Our guy Richard dropping a little something special in there for everybody using code REPORT today. If you have some traditional ailments and you're looking for some non-traditional remedies, the Rogue Shop could have something that has you covered. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Also want to thank our friends at AIMA. That's AIM and Associates, Abel's Iron and more. Just starting out in your career, it might feel like investing is something you'll think about later, but the truth is, the earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Abel's Iron More and Associates helps young professionals build disciplined portfolios from day one. They'll help you understand how to invest strategically, avoid common pitfalls, and create a foundation for long-term financial growth. No minimum account required, no sales pitches, no gimmicks, just clear guidance from a team with over 20 years of experience helping clients across the country. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or visit aiminc.com to get started on the path towards financial security and freedom. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iron More and Associates for this endorsement. Abel's Iron More and Associates is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. And the information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risks, including the potential loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. Again, call AIMA today to make sure you get started down your path to financial freedom. Also want to thank our friends at the Vibe Vault. You can find them at 3462 Crosswinds Road, Suite E in Phoenix City, Alabama. Look, if you're looking to get fresh for the weekend, they've got you covered. My guy Steve Watkins over there serving up fresh cuts for the community. Great sponsors of the War Report. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Again, get fresh for the weekend with the Vibe Vault, not just barbers, lifestyle consultants. Last but certainly not least, we want to thank our friends at Sky Tobacco and Vape. Need a smoke shop that's always close by? Sky Tobacco and Vape has you covered all over Columbus and even across the bridge in Phoenix City. Whether you're cruising down Airport Thruway, rolling along Victory Drive, or making a pit stop on the bypass, they've got you covered from vapes to tobacco and everything in between. Sky Tobacco and Vape is your one-stop shop for good vibes and great deals. Swing through today. Chances are they're already on your way. Caesar Walker jumping in. We're here with me on a weekend tailgate to talk about the aftermath of Auburn, Oklahoma. Before we get into it, Caesar, let's start at the top. We ran our post game a little earlier since it was a 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central kickoff. But the SEC released a statement that I want to read here. They said in Saturday's Auburn at Oklahoma football game, With 10:50 remaining in the second quarter, a pass was thrown to Oklahoma number 5, resulting in a touchdown. Oklahoma's number 5 participated in the previous play, which was a first down play from the 22-yard line. After the first down play was completed, Oklahoma number 5 continued towards the team sideline, but stopped just before reaching the Oklahoma sideline. NCAA Football Rule 9-2, Article 2 is labeled Unfair Tactics, with paragraph B stating, no simulated replacements or substitutions may be used to confuse opponents. No tactic associated with substitutes or substitution process may be used to confuse opponents. This includes any hideout tactic with or without a substitution. With or without a substitution. The officiating crew did not properly interpret the action as a hideout tactic. If properly officiated, the second down play should have resulted in a team unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of 15 yards assessed from the previous spot. Appropriate accountability will be applied without additional comment. Whew, okay, we got through that. So
I'm curious what that means.
We effed up.
Yeah.
Long way of saying we effed up. But talk to me, man. I cannot remember an Auburn game that I walked away from feeling more frustrated in officiating than this one. Look, Auburn has had some bangers over the years where the officials have come in and just absolutely done a terrible job. SEC officiating is always under fire. And in this case, I don't understand why you don't have somebody from the SEC office sitting there on replay. You are the marquee matchup of the weekend in all of college football. Two better teams did not play on Saturday than Auburn and Oklahoma. The eyes of the college football world are always on you, Caesar. Why not have somebody stand them? If they could have figured that out after the game, they could have figured that out in the game, call it down and say, no, you guys are wrong. We talked about this all off season. He was clearly trying to make it look like he was going to the bench. And in real time, I tweeted the play out. I was like, how in the world of SEC football did this happen? How did Auburn, who was playing such great defense, blow a coverage that bad? The question was, you cheated. And you got away with it because the refs didn't do their job.
Now, what makes this even more egregious, because you shared something with me, Mike, that I didn't know before we went live. Hugh Freeze had alluded to meetings early in the offseason in which the SEC made it perfectly clear that this was not allowed. Feel free to elaborate on that.
Yeah, look, he said that they were told all offseason by the league office that about this rule and the intent behind this rule and what was illegal and not illegal, which is why he was hot on it. Auburn tried to call a timeout. They didn't give them the timeout, and then Oklahoma got the touchdown. They knew in real time. They caught it in real time and said, wait, what's he doing? This is illegal. Can't do that. No way they blew a coverage like that. I mean, but there was nobody there.
Right.
They thought you could
see Oklahoma on replay celebrating like in real time. So they knew what they were doing. They knew what was going on.
This was tough, man. It's a tough one to swallow. I had said before we started recording, I had said, well, we don't know what would have happened after that, which is still true. But as you pointed out, the resulting penalty, it's not an illegal substitute. It's not 5-yard penalty. It's a 15-yard unsportsmanlike that would have pushed them back to the other side of the 50. I mean, who knows what would have happened from there if they were trying to push the ball upfield.
And maybe they were not moving the ball well at this point.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
They were not moving the ball. They hadn't figured Auburn out yet. They were struggling to move the ball. Like, that would have been huge for their drive. That would have been huge.
Yeah, look, I want to make something clear. And I want to make sure it's said with my whole chest and that people understand the spirit behind what I'm saying. I don't give a damn about your criticisms of Jackson Arnold in this game. I knew he wasn't going to play a perfect game. I think most people understood. Did he leave some throws on the table? Yes. But he 100% gave Auburn a chance to win this football game. He threw some catchable balls, and then he misfired on some, but so did Mateer. They got out with the win. The story in this game, I'm sorry to say, is the officiating. Auburn left some plays on the table. I get it. I think the long snapper should be running heels from now until their next game. As far as I'm concerned, he handed them points too.
We got time to talk about Auburn, and that's the thing. Like, and I said this yesterday, Mike. Two things could be true at the same time, right? The officiating was atrocious, and Auburn shot itself in the foot at times.
Yeah.
So just because you speak on one doesn't mean you're, for me, just because I speak to one thing doesn't mean I'm completely ignoring the other side of this game.
But the officiating mistakes were exponentially more atrocious than the mistakes that Auburn made.
Because it dealt with points. Points
Correct.
were involved with these calls, to your point.
Right. The reverse on the fumble, 7 points off the board. The missed call on what should have been an illegal substitution and an unsportsmanlike conduct, 7 points on the board for Oklahoma. That's a 14-point swing, man.
Yeah.
I beg you, Auburn.
And it took an heroic 4th and 11 to wipe away the egregious missed PI on Cam Coleman.
That's a fact. Yeah, right. That's a fact. If you're wondering about any of these plays, I promise you, just go to my Twitter. I promise you I clipped it. I was clipping it with my hands shaking in rage the entire time. Caesar, this was bad.
Yeah.
Jackson Arnold pulled off an 11-yard run on a 4th down with 9.5 minutes left in the 4th quarter because they could not call. The official didn't have his head turned around to see that the dude was dragging Cam Coleman down by the waist
as if he was the only ref on the field.
I'm just not sure how any of the other refs didn't see that. Like,
I thought there were more refs on the field, right, Mike?
Yeah,
he had to be the one to see it. We all saw it.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at with this one. Is Auburn may not have played their best game, and this because I am begging you, Auburn fans, do not go to social media and start bagging on Jackson Arnold. Don't do that. Don't do that. He doesn't deserve that. Did he? I mean, look, he did. He missed a throw in top right to Cam Coleman, deep right, that would have been a touchdown if he put some air under it.
Yeah.
It happens. We knew who Jackson Arnold was when he came here. I didn't expect him to be a 78% guy. He had another one, again, deep right, where if he, two things could have happened. Either he could have put a little bit more air under it, or Cam Coleman, he kind of like stumbled on his route or whatever. And they accurately pointed out that if he keeps running, he potentially runs under it. Yeah, but I mean, it was thrown on a rope.
I give a little bit of grace on that first one. I give some grace on that first one because it wasn't just Jackson on that. The second one was heartbreaking.
Yeah,
that one was a heartbreaker.
Defensive, we got to talk about this offensive line. Like you said, there's time to talk about Auburn, but we have not even covered all the officiating mistakes in this game. I'm telling you, there were so many non-call holding penalties. The only thing Oklahoma could do to Auburn to stop them in this game was hold them. And that wasn't just Cam Coleman. Caesar, that was our defensive line.
Yeah.
They were holding the defensive line like crazy for 60 minutes. I'm screaming at my TV. I'm like, yo, he beat the guy. There's a reason that Auburn D-line didn't get to Jackson Arnold more. They were holding him. They just weren't calling it.
Get the material.
Mateer, I'm sorry. To get the Mateer, they were holding him and they just weren't calling it.
Yeah.
It was very, very frustrating to watch. I mean,
and the thing is, you can call a game so bad, Mike, to where when I mentioned this, I'm gonna say this a little differently than I said it yesterday. You can call a game so bad to where you'll make good calls look bad later in the game because it's inconsistent.
Yeah.
So the guy going out, the catch that was on that last drive, that they ruled a catch, it was a similar thing. Very similar thing.
Yeah.
Earlier in the game, that was an incomplete. And so my thing is that if it's an incomplete, okay, if you're going to call it wrong, be consistent in it.
Yeah, call it wrong consistently. Yeah.
Or call it right, like get it right. Now you make it egregious to the other team because they did not get that benefit of the doubt early in the game. So now when you try to fix it, it looks egregious. Like it was just bad all around.
This officiating crew should never call a game together for the rest of the year. This combination of officials should not be together to call another game after that. As I mentioned at the top, this was the marquee football game of the weekend. There was not a better game on the slated games in any conference than Auburn and Oklahoma this weekend. Both teams showed up with their A game. And look, we opened up talking about the grievances versus Auburn, but I want to make sure that I properly give credit to Oklahoma for a really, I think they played a hell of a football game. They got after Jackson Arnold. We knew they would. They got after him. And this O-line has to be called to the carpet at least somewhat on the sacks that they gave up.
False starts.
Right, yeah. Look, I think Hugh called a hell of a game, but I do think he could have done a little bit more to cover his quarterback. Where is the quick strike offense, man? Where is the quick slants, the things that get the ball out of Jackson Arnold's hand? Is he not comfortable throwing those balls? It felt like a lot of the pass plays required extensive and extended blocking by the O-line to develop. These are good DBs, man. It's going to be a battle to get open. And in spite of all that, Cam still found his way open. Eric still found his way open. Yeah. Malcolm still found his way open. I thought those guys absolutely shined at times in this game. And if I am Jackson Arnold, I'm just like, look, don't hang your head about this one. Do not hang your head about this football game. He went out there and he went to war.
Yeah.
I do not understand the people on social media in real time. Auburn still doesn't have a QB. Shut up. Be quiet. Mateer didn't play a perfect football game. They still got there with a dub.
They had very similar stats.
I'm telling you.
Stats were very similar.
Yeah, right. Jackson Arnold's adjusted completion percentage was 76.6 in this football game. I'm sorry. Let me not say that. That's his overall adjusted for the year. His adjusted for this game was 75.9, so not so close. Right? And they only accredited one drop to the wide receivers. But I'm telling you, this is going to sound like a nitpick. Auburn kept, even though they gave up 10 sacks, the 9 sacks or whatever the number was, they kept him clean on 71.4% of his dropbacks, which is less than a 30% pressure rate on him. Is 28.6. That's about what Bo played under at Auburn. Just a little bit more about what Bo played under behind his offensive line. It means that they're going to give up plays at times, but there's going to be room for you to make plays, which is exactly what we saw.
Yeah.
This is a really, really good defensive line. R. Mason Thomas came back after the half and made his presence felt.
And listen, but there's some things that with this O-line, they got to get cleaned up. They have to, I don't know what you do, Mike, because I mean, if I'm Jake Thornton, I'm like, listen, we got to work on teams doing stunts and twists and whatnot, because Auburn seemed like they struggled with that throughout the game. There were guys running wide open at Jackson Arnold from the defensive line, and it just seemed as though when they did those things, that's concerning. Going on the road against A&M, another good defensive team. If I'm watching on the film, best believe Auburn's, you should expect to see more of that in the coming weeks because it worked so well this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Oklahoma fans, I said this earlier this week. I said it all week. I thought the winner of this game was going to go on to make the college football playoff. Also, Oklahoma fans, if you're watching, you guys are going to make the playoffs. Oklahoma is going to make the playoffs. They've got a hell of a football team. And we said all week, they had the athletes, the system, and the play calling to force Auburn to out of their comfort zone offensively. There was no shot Jackson Arnold was going to get out with a win and throw the ball less than 30 times. Just no shot, Caesar. They were going to have to push the ball down the field. And, what it boiled down to was they made plays at times, they missed plays at times, same as Oklahoma. I think you dishonor these two teams with the type of officiating that was provided for this game. Both these teams deserved better.
You said it perfectly. It was too good of a matchup, too good of a competition for the refs to be a part of the storyline.
Yeah.
It's too good of a game.
Yeah. We're going to bring in Ike Jones after the break, Caesar. He's on his way back from Norman, but he's going to join us to kind of give his thoughts on what this game was. But looking forward, most of the things that I saw that went wrong for Auburn in this football game, you can clean up. They can get all that stuff right. I think.
Here's the thing, though, Mike. My question for some of this stuff is when. Like, some of this stuff has been going on for a couple of years, like special team stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's clean. You can clean it up. You're right. But it's like, God, my goodness. Like, hurry up already.
Yeah.
Like, why are we still doing some of this stuff on special teams?
Yeah. Malcolm Simmons, young players making young mistakes. Malcolm Simmons fielding the ball inside his own 5 instead of letting that ball do whatever it's going to do. There's no reason to field the ball that deep on a punt. None. Zero.
Bro.
Right. What were you doing? What were you doing? As I mentioned, I'm super frustrated with the long snapper creating a turnover on downs deep in your own territory. And then Hudson Cock, man, like, come on, dude. Just anything.
You're not more athletic.
Trying to juke the defender, Oklahoma defender. I'm not a big fan of that. I hope we erase every play in the playbook to Preston Howard. I at least for the rest of the season, or I don't know. I hate to say that about any player, but I'm not high. Like, I'm just not high on him this season. There were opportunities left out there that Oklahoma provided, and even so, that is the best defense in this conference. I'm telling you, nobody has a better defense than Oklahoma right now in conference. They were overshadowed last year by an offensive disaster. That was just there's no way you don't go in to the season with a plan for that many injuries offensively. No team does. And so this defense goose egged Alabama in terms of touchdowns. No touchdowns for Alabama. They beat them 24-3. Jackson Arnold was the quarterback of that team. So they always had this in them. They were always just one healthy season away from being this a sort of like monster. But they were already that monster defensively. Likewise, Auburn was as well, too. They found other ways to be dysfunctional offensively. Won a bunch of injuries. Auburn had the second best rusher in the conference last year. Not even close. I would argue by the averages, well, not even an argument. By the averages, he was the best. 6.4 yards per carry. He was the best running back in the conference last year. He had 70 less carries than Dylan Sampson did. Now, only like a couple hundred less yards, but, when these two teams are closer on offense and defense, look at what they could do.
Yeah.
If you had an edge, Oklahoma, it was your house. We are 4 games deep into this football season, and Jackson Arnold still does not have a turnover.
I will say this, and I said this, I don't know if I mentioned this to you.
They sacked him 10 times, and he didn't cough the ball up once on a fumble.
I'll say this.
Point that out.
One of the things that I did appreciate for my frustrations with the offense went down the field and scored in the fourth quarter.
Fair.
Last year, that would not have happened.
No shot.
Auburn still would have had 10 points.
Yeah, shot.
It would have.
No shot.
You know what I mean? Like this would have. So there's something there. There's some improvement there with this offense because Auburn went down despite the odds, despite some of the egregious call or no calls. Jackson Arnold made a gutsy play on the 4th and 11 to extend that drive that led to a score. there are some things that I do like in this team. They just got to dig deep, Mike. They got to dig deep and figure some things out. And like, again, this is a 60-minute game, and what I'm tired of seeing, especially now that the talent has improved at Auburn can't expect to get in these games and win it in 55 minutes. It's something about these last 6 minutes. You take your first lead of the game, and Oklahoma needed a touch. They scored their only touchdown to this point, Mike, was a incompetent officiating and an illegal play by Oklahoma on a short field that we gave them from a botched snap punt, right?
Yeah.
You then drive 75 yards in 6 plays. Like, the defense was playing lights out. God bless them. God bless them. Great defense. But it's one of these things, Mike, when we talk about when will Auburn turn the corner, it's these moments. It's these clutch moments that Auburn has to take the game over, whether it's on the defense or whether it's the offense. Up to that point, the offense had done its job. They got you the lead. You can't give up 75 in 6 play. I could see a 10-play drive and they kick a field goal. I can't even get mad at that, Mike. But they treated Auburn's defense like they were Temple. 6 plays.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw my boys some cover here. This was still a defense overall. Like, the timeliness of what you're talking about, you're absolutely right. Right at the time, it felt particularly egregious, but to give up just barely 300 yards of offense in
overall,
this game,
a good game.
306.
Overall, a good game.
Yeah,
it's clutch moments to me. That's what I'm talking about.
I mean, Auburn left about 100 yards of offense on the field on missed throws. That's clutch not an exaggeration. Moments. Yeah, there's about 100 yards of missed throws that were left on the field. You finished with 287 yards. Neither team did great on third down. Auburn was 3 of 15. OU was 3 of 12. These were 2 really good defenses. Oklahoma converted their only 4th down. Auburn converted 1 of 3. But one of them was supposed to be one of those 3 was supposed to be a punt. That was messed up by a long snap and a turnover on downs that subsequently led to a touchdown. If you don't mess up that snap, that whole sequence where the SEC gets that illegal substitution wrong maybe never even happens. Yeah, it doesn't happen. So you allowed another P4 team less than 50 yards rushing. I mean, I want you to hear me out. Through 4 games, Auburn has allowed 65 yards rushing to Baylor, -3 yards rushing to Ball State, 140 yards to South Alabama, and 35 yards to Oklahoma. 3 out of your 4 games, you have not let a team sniff 80 yards and 70 yards in rushing. That is absolutely a wild stat. Auburn, kind of took the lead in rushing there on the bust out play by Jeremiah Cobb, but it was a rough day running the ball for both teams. It's only 67 yards on the ground for the Tigers. That's what I expected, though, and that's what I meant when I said Oklahoma has the athletes to force you to do some things defensively that you probably don't want to do. Yeah. I mean, offensively to do what you don't want to do with their defense. So, look, you lost the game. You turned the ball over 0, no fumbles, no interceptions.
Won the turnover battle.
Yeah, right. Like it was tough. It was really tough to watch this. Jackson Arnold went 21 of 32 in this game. That's a 65.5% completion percentage. That's about where I expected to be. On the other side, his John Mateer was 66.5%. Right, so he was 1% better than Jackson Arnold in this football game, but that 1% was that one throw that he made that Jackson Arnold missed, which unfortunately for Jackson Arnold, they were home run balls.
Yeah,
they were home run balls. So there were some questions asked by the media that I didn't particularly understand about Auburn's lack of trying to push the ball down the field coming into this one. And I just thought it was obvious. They haven't had to. So why throw up low percentage passes just to say that you're doing it?
Yeah.
You clearly can do it. You can execute it in the moment because they did it multiple times with Cam Coleman. I did not understand. They left Cam one-on-one way too much in this football game. I understand.
To me, and I think that's why people are going crazy over the missed throws because, oh my God, like that cornerback, oh my God, he's still having nightmares about Cam Coleman.
Yeah, Auburn won time of possession by 11 minutes in this football game. They held the ball on the road for 35 minutes and 34 seconds. That's, I mean, the penalties suck.
If you had told me, the penalties hurt. But if you told me that Auburn had 11-minute advantage in time of possession, won the turnover battle, and held Oklahoma to 300 yards, I'm saying Auburn wins.
Yeah.
Auburn wins this game.
Yeah. This is going to be, I mean, we got to get our feelings out on this one. I just feel like this is cathartic and we want to hear from you guys. Let's Caesar, let's get to the break here. And when we come back, we're going to get to your comments and then we're going to hear from Ike Jones. We're going to bring him in. He is on his way back from the game and he did a great job covering us for us live. So let's hear from our sponsors and we'll be right back.
This edition of the War Report is brought to you by our generous sponsors. Golden's Cast Iron. Whether you work out, grill out, or chill out, you deserve the best life possible, and Golden's Cast Iron is here to provide the tools to help you do it. Check them out at goldenscastiron.com.
The Rage Room. The Rage Room is a place where anger and stress find their ultimate release. Set up a session today at one of the 2 great locations in Opelika or Birmingham by visiting opelikaRageRoom.com or BirminghamRageRoom.com.
As always, join as a patron member. Our patrons help support the work that we're doing here. $5.99 a month will get you there. Game day experience like no other for our patrons. We appreciate them for always. These are like micro sponsorships. So if you subscribe to a patron membership, you help keep Ike on the road. You help keep me on the road. We are covering the best we can for you guys, but we need your help. Also, you can give the gift of the War Report by hitting that gifted membership button. We appreciate all of our gifted memberships. So many given away so far this month. Let's keep that going. Let's continue to grow the Green Name Gang. Look, Caesar, some of our ops are picking up these gifted memberships. We got opposing team fans picking up gifted memberships. You guys have been so generous with that, and they're interacting at a high level, so they're doing their part. We appreciate them for always engaging with us. I want to thank our friends at AIMA. That's Abel's Iron Moore and Associates. Just starting out in your career, it might feel like investing is something you'll think about later, but the truth is, the earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow. Abel's Iron Moore and Associates helps young professionals build disciplined portfolios from day one. They'll help you understand how to invest strategically, avoid common pitfalls, and create a foundation for long-term financial growth. No minimum account required, no sales pitch, and no gimmicks, just clear guidance from a team of over 20 years of experience helping clients across the country. Call AIMA at 912-777-4128 or visit aiminc.com to get started on the path towards financial security. The War Report has been compensated by Abel's Iron Moore and Associates for this endorsement. AIMA is a registered investment advisor. Registration as an investment advisor does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The information in this advertisement is for informational purposes only and should not be considered personalized investment advice. All investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal, and past performance is not indicative of future results. I want to thank our friends at SetsForSociety.ai. The path to knowing self better starts at Sets for Society. They have custom personality assessments to let you know more about how you think, how those around you think, and how a team of you can think best to achieve like goals. So if you got a big project coming, if you've got construction plans, if you just have anything where you're doing a bunch of planning and you want to help your team work better together, you guys can take these personality assessments and begin to get to know yourselves and each other just a little better. Again, start on the path to knowing self with setsforsociety.ai. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Want to thank our friends at the Rogue Shop. Visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get 15% off your Rogue Shop order. Pain, stress, anxiety, whatever ails you in life, the Rogue Shop has something that has you covered. If you've got some traditional ailments and you're looking for some non-traditional remedies, the Rogue Shop could have something that could help you out here. Don't be afraid to ask these guys questions when you place your order in. They're very responsive, and they'll get back to you if you have questions about any of the products and their usage. We appreciate them for sponsoring this segment. Let's jump back into our conversation here. We're going to get to some comments, and then we're going to bring Ike in from the road here. Lawrence says, fix special teams now 3 years in a row with special teams costing us games dating back to the muff punt against Bama. Could not agree more with that. Very, very frustrating season when the details beat you. And in tough football games, it comes down to those details. Greg Weekly says officiating was bad, but it didn't cost us the game. Yeah, I disagree with this.
I don't know if I agree with this.
Yeah, at some point, AU has to stop self-destructing and win a game that matters. No more excuses.
And two things can be true. Like there, and I think I heard Daryl Dapprich talk about this. There was two things Auburn had to overcome: their opportunities, their mistakes, and some of the poor officiating. Asking them to overcome both of these two things was tough. Take care of one of these things and you win, which makes the officiating actually a part of the narrative.
Yeah, absolutely. My guy Heavy comes in with the super chat. Even with all the mistakes Auburn and the refs made, we still had a chance to win at the end. This team has huge upside. This is what I'm talking about here. You don't have to hang your head. Now, if it continues throughout the season and untimely bad snaps on special teams, I get it. I understand it. Game 4 on the road, in a game you lost by 5 points where the officials took essentially 14 points from you. I don't know. Donovan says that Auburn won the game. We are 4-0. Or damn Eagle. He said Auburn's 4-0 in my mind. I don't care. Stephen Neely with the $5 super tap. Auburn cannot let this game beat them twice by sulking all week. This was a great comment. And come out flat against A&M on Saturday. Don't get beat twice, says Stephen. Appreciate that comment. The sad thing is Oklahoma fans act like they didn't. The refs gifted them this game. They would have said what we are saying if the tables were reversed. They absolutely would have been whining in the comments if the SEC officials had done to them. Do you remember a few years ago?
I know exactly what you're about to ask. Go ahead.
With Bo Nix snapped the ball, he spiked the ball backwards, and they didn't call it. And Arkansas fans came into our comments, and we were like, yeah, we got away with one, and it wasn't what they were expecting. They were like, they were expecting us to defend the missed call by the refs, and we were like, no, Auburn stole one there, and
they were like, well.
This is the most honest Homer podcast I've ever listened to. Just you can admit it. You can just admit that the refs did a bad job in this one.
You admitting it is not going to make you 3-1.
Yeah, you 4-0. I get it.
4-0. Yeah. You're not gonna. You're still perfect on the year. Just admit it.
Just admit it. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's not Auburn fans saying you're not a good football team. It's just Auburn fans saying the chance for us to win a tough football game was stolen from us. They stole it. Yeah, I just don't like. There were two. It's not just bad calls. They were bad calls that led directly to points being taken on the board or taken off the board or being put on the board for Oklahoma. The types of calls cannot be understated here. D-Lev with the $2 super chat. Is Texas A&M a must-win game? Look, one of the first three is. So I'm not sure, like Auburn, if you're Auburn, you just need to, I keep saying this, you just needed to get out of this first 4-game stretch 1-3. Getting out 2-3 would be a bonus. You open SEC play with the 3 toughest games, man.
I'm going to say on this one. Just because I don't want Georgia to be the game you got to win, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm going to go with on this one. I would have preferred it had been yesterday, that you get that off your back to where you can go into Jordan Hare with a chance to go 2-1 on this difficult trip.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it depends, Caesar. What was your expectation for this season? This is anybody asking this question.
I thought
has to
this
ask
was the
themselves.
game.
Yeah.
I thought Oklahoma was the game.
Yeah.
But leading up to this game, I realized Oklahoma was better than I thought they were going to be. Go ahead. What was your question? Go ahead.
What I meant was like, hey, what was your expectation for the season in terms of wins and losses? If your expectation was 8, Auburn's right on track.
Yeah.
If your expectation was 9, Auburn's still right on track with a loss at Texas A&M. If your expectation was playoff, then maybe this is a must-win game because that's 10 wins. 10 wins get you in the SEC. So
but, I mean, again, the homer in me, you want playoffs, right, Mike?
Yeah, I guess. I'm just like, look,
I heard what you're saying, but it's just like this.
I think
you see what this team's ceiling is, and you low key see what their floor is, and it's like this team can actually get there. They can get there.
I just want to point out that talking about whether a game is a must-win game 4 weeks in is definitely a testament to how Hugh Freeze has raised the expectation from the fan base about what this season should be. Like, we're talking about must-win games at this point. It means that people are starting to understand that he's got a really good football team on his hands. Ronte Dagiant says, we got cheated. Refs must have got an NIL deal. Agreed. Auburn did get cheated. Cannot be blank. Name cannot be blank says, cynical take. Yesterday looked different, better, but same result as the previous 6 years. Need a win at A&M so things do not snowball, and they could snowball because we don't have a winning culture right now. I can agree with the sentiment behind this comment. Like, if you go out and you lose to Texas A&M in another game where you leave plays on the table, because for all intents and purposes, it is a game that Auburn could and should win. But the talent that they have, then it could snowball on you negatively. Because, like you said, you don't want to go into Georgia with that being your must-win game. Say what?
I'll pick up here. So, what I'll say to what Mike was to this comment here is that, are you here? Are you back?
Yeah, I think I'm here. I didn't see that I left, but
okay, go ahead.
If you can hear me, like I said, I just think that you were right about saying that you don't want to go into Georgia with that being your must-win game, right? Like, I think that's where it's at right there. I'm going to refresh my feed, Caesar. If you can pick up, I'll be right back.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, so name cannot be blank. Like this, what I was talking about here was quite simply put, Auburn has to take advantage of those clutch moments. Auburn Auburn plays for the most part. Yesterday was really sloppy, but Oklahoma played sloppy. Auburn has to seize the moments and take advantage of those clutch moments. That I think this is what you're talking against the A&Ms and the Oklahomas of the world. It shows up really bad in a loss when Auburn doesn't take advantage of those opportunities. And so that I agree with what you're saying here, because that was my sentiments earlier. Auburn has to begin to take advantage. Ben Bloodworth, appreciate you being here with us, man. Appreciate your comment. He says, if we want to be ranked, why don't we just change our name to Notre Dame? Are we stupid? Yeah, Yeah, I think they're getting the benefit of the doubt there based on how they did last year and because they're Notre Dame. Mercy with the $4.99 super chat says they dropped a 3-1 Auburn run teams that should be 4-0 if it wasn't for the refs out of the AP poll, but keep a 1-2 Notre Dame team. Shaking my head. Yeah, it's disgusting, but it's based on, and again, these polls. There's a reason why the rankings for the college football playoff kicks in weeks into the season, because these polls here, for the most part, can be a joke of sorts. So, Mike, you're back.
Okay, all right. Let's finish up here so we can get Ike in here. I appreciate that comment, Mercy. Ant Robinson says, everybody talks about Jackson, but I've seen the star wide receivers give up on a perfect ball. I'm so sick of the blame game. We win as one and lose the same. There's plenty. Jackson wasn't the only one, right, that left some plays on the table. Correct. Name cannot be blank says, Sunshine Take, lost a road game by one possession to a top 10 team, whole season ahead of us, and this could be used as a fuel similar to the 2017 Clemson.
Name cannot be blank. I like the balanced takes here. You
Yeah,
came, you said you had a cynical take and now a sunshine take.
There you
I
go.
like the balance.
Let's see here. Prince Chaku, a member for 12 months. We appreciate a whole year of membership there. And then Heavy says, my move for 4 games into this year is way more positive than 4 games into last year. We were a turnover machine and benching quarterbacks. You know, before we bring Ike in, I just want to say that this is the perfect comment, right? Your mood this year has to be markedly different. If it's not, you are too stuck in the past.
Yeah,
you just too stuck in the past. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, Auburn is a better football team right now.
Yeah,
they are a better football team, and I think they're clearly a better football team. People are starting to recognize. Caesar. They see what Auburn is. They see what the rest of the league is. A lot of folks that we thought were not going to be as good are just, you know, it just is what it is. So, like, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, look, Auburn has a shot here to really be something special. They do. They've got a shot to be something special here, and they've just got to keep pushing at it. AP poll got us behind Illinois. I guess the AP poll just released. Is Auburn still ranked after that one? They should be. If 0-2 Notre Dame is ranked, 3-1 Auburn better be ranked. What do you see there in the AP poll?
I'll look it up. I know some people, yeah. I think someone was complaining that we were not ranked, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I was like, Illinois, or is that in the votes? Yeah, Oklahoma jumped into the top 10, definitely. Let me see.
But if they jump into the top 10, you don't unrank Auburn.
Alabama Idol dropped 3 spots to 17. Did they jump up? Come on. Where is the whole? I hate when they like post this like article stuff, but they don't just post the whole like ranking. Oh, here it is. Yeah,
Auburn fell out.
They fell out of the rankings.
They're the top. They're the top. They're the top
122
ones.
votes received.
Yes.
Yeah, yikes, man. Well, you're right there. Beat Texas A&M, and you're right back up in there. Where is Texas A&M ranked right now? They're 9. So you have a chance to log a top 10 win on the road. Man, should have been 2 of them, but you got a chance to do that. Look, great engagement from our listeners. Let's bring Ike. I'm going to see if I can bring Ike in here to talk with us about what he saw. Ike, talk to us, man. What did you see from Auburn there? You went to the post game and you were there, man. You were there in Waco, just kind of taking it all in. Talk to us about what you saw.
Yeah, you guys got me.
Yeah.
So let me just say this, bro. I get it for everybody in the Auburn fan base that wants to be like, Auburn still should have won. Let's stop harping on this. But I'm going to harp on it a little bit. It's clear to me from going back and watching this on television and being there in the stadium. Number one, Oklahoma was being intentionally skirting the rules in several ways. They got caught on a couple of them, which were the pick plays that they ran, right? Like they got caught on those, and those were a part of their game plan. We're going to run these rub concepts and see if we can get away with it. They didn't get caught on the illegal substitution thing, which was clear that they had practiced that play. And then after the play, Ben Arbuckle gets caught on the camera flipping off the thing, basically being like, yep, we got you guys on that one. They practiced things that they knew were going to be illegal to see if they could get away with it coming into this game. That's not cool. And I have an issue with Oklahoma fans now, not all of them, but those of you who I'm talking to, you know exactly who I'm talking to, acting as if this is not a big deal and Auburn fans should just get over it. We'll get over it and we will move on after today. Today is a reaction show to a game that just happened yesterday. Stop being on your high horse and telling people that they're whining and crying about something when your team intentionally broke rules yesterday. Not, oh man, holding this happens on every play. Not, oh, defensive pass interference. You could call that a bunch. No, I'm talking about rules you knew were rules. You had whole meetings about this during the offseason, and you still did it on purpose. And then you're sneering about it in the post game if you're the head coach, like you got away with one, and now you're like, well, no, you knew you did it. You practiced it. There were people who watched your practice that said as much. It's crap. Lastly, to the Oklahoma fan base, and this whole idea that you were going to walk in here or Auburn was going to walk into town and you were going to mock them, no, didn't happen. Admit it today, Auburn's a better football team than you thought they were going to be going into this game, and they proved as much in this game, even with all of the mistakes that Auburn made in this game. Still barely got out of this game with a win. That's not a moral victory. That's a fact. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Again, you went to the post game. Any additional thoughts on what Hugh Freeze had to say, and how this ended up? I mean, Auburn clearly left some plays on the field. I think you and I talked about this earlier this morning. There's some plays that could have been made that weren't. But what it boils down to is that the mistakes that were made by the officials directly led to points added or points subtracted, points gained or points lost. Any thoughts about the particular types of mistakes the officials were making in this one?
Yeah, I mean, what was clear to me is that, and Caesar talked about this already, so I don't want to go into it too much, but if the fumble wasn't a fumble, it was an incomplete pass, then the catch on the sideline, oddly enough, all three of the very questionable calls involved Isaiah Sategna. He was the guy who had the catch that was ruled an incomplete pass that Auburn got the fumble and eventually scored a touchdown on the fumble recovery. He is the guy who did the fake situation going towards the sideline with an illegal substitution play that ended up in the touchdown. And he is the guy that on the sidelines they threw the ball up to, and it was ruled a complete catch, even though he fumbled the ball out of bounds afterwards. But in terms of kind of what Coach Hugh Freeze's mood was after it, if you haven't seen the full presser is on our YouTube channel already, it's clear he felt like they got screwed. And, he was trying to avoid the whole I want to get fined thing here, but he knows what he saw, which is it looked like a catch to me, and he fumbled the ball. It looked as if the guy, and they were trying to call this. I think this is the other part that upsets me about that whole illegal substitution. Both he and DJ Durkin were trying to call a timeout to try to avoid this happening, and the officials ignored their request for a timeout. So it's like, you knew that apparently, they were about to run this play, and you're going to let it happen and not let Auburn get a timeout. It's ridiculous. And so Coach Hugh Freeze understandably was bewildered in the post-game press conference as to how all of this transpired, how you allow this to happen, and you don't give me my timeout. I don't understand any of those things.
Yeah.
And then for the SEC to come subsequently and admit they were wrong, what do you freaking do? It doesn't change the outcome of the game now. I mean, thank you. You give us ammunition to say, yep, we thought it was wrong then. You admitted it's wrong, but it doesn't change the outcome of the game. So it's like, thanks, I guess, for admitting you screwed up. But, I mean, you already screwed my wife, bro. I don't need the apology letter.
Yeah, I would say this. It doesn't help after the game. I don't understand why there is not, with Auburn, Oklahoma being the marquee SEC matchup of the week, and maybe the marquee national matchup of the week. I don't understand why there's not protocol in place for somebody in Birmingham to be watching in these games to say, oh, wait. It took you hours after the game to figure it out. Like, somebody has to be able to figure that out in a moment, call it down to stop the game and say, we're reviewing this in the league office. We'll get back to you in 2 minutes. and get the call right. If you can get it right after the play, you can get it right in the moment. Just take your time with it. You're already stopping the game for a review. I just don't understand why they can't just do that, Ike.
Yeah, the question on that one would be whether or not that is a reviewable play, right? Like, yes, because it was a scoring play, yes, it should have been reviewable, but I don't know what's within the bounds of what they can review and say. I don't know how that works as far as that particular call is concerned. It's clear it should have been a penalty. Again, SEC admitted to as much. But is that a play that they can be overturned by Birmingham when they go back and review that scoring play? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
I would assume that the answer is no, and that's the reason why it didn't happen, but it should have been, because, again, earlier in the game, you had no problem reviewing the scoring play and taking points off the board.
Yeah, right. Right. So you made two good points there. Number one, that you don't know if it's reviewable, but number two, because if it's a scoring play, everything about that play should be able to be under review. And hopefully they go back to the drawing board this offseason and say, I don't know, maybe even a coach's challenge in that moment. I didn't get my timeout. You didn't give me my timeout. So I need the ability to throw a flag and say, nope, you guys got this wrong. Call up to the SEC office, at least one per game. It was in a game where points were going to be at a premium. Could not think of a moment other than the fumble that they already reviewed at the beginning of the game where Hugh Freeze would have used a flag like that. But this is where I would be in favor of like one coach's challenge on something critical, where you have something where it's up to rule interpretation and say, no, you're getting this wrong. Call this up to Birmingham and make sure you get it right, because they came to the right conclusion after the fact anyway. So,
yeah, I mean, I think that this ruling actually will open the door for that conversation in the postseason, where in earnest they will start talking about types of things that can be challenged by coaches and what are, like how many timeouts, blah, blah, blah. I think that this opens the door for that sort of thing. It's something that they do right now in the UFL, where they have reviews and coaches challenges happen in the NFL, where they do it in a very specific way in the UFL, where you can literally challenge anything on a play, like from holding that didn't get called pass interference. Like, you can challenge anything on a play with a coach's challenge. And it's something that I actually think is a good thing that can be introduced into other leagues that allow coaches to say, no, this isn't right, bro. Like, let's go look at this one again. You have a limited amount of them, and if you get them wrong, then you get the timeout assessed, all that sort of thing. But I think it's something that should be looked at.
Absolutely. Ike Jones, co-show host and co-owner here at the War Report, joining us live from the road. Get back home safely, brother. We'll see you on the Auburn Express this week.
All right, peace.
Appreciate you, Ike.
Lots of great points made by Ike there about this, but yeah, I do think good food for thought here this offseason is that if officials can come to the right conclusion after the game, coaches should have the ability, at least on scoring plays, to be able to throw a flag and have something sent up to Birmingham. And quite honestly, they should be watching anyway, so they should already be prepared. When those things come through, and have someone look at it and deliver a ruling. But there's no reason in this day and age with all the technology we have for them to get it right after the fact. Right. I mean, that's just where I'm at about it. Look, we're getting pretty close to the end of the show here, but we want to get to some more of your comments. I see some super chats coming here. Drop your super chats. Outside of all the obvious, we spent an hour talking about officiating and mistakes Auburn has made. I think the outlook for this season is still great, Caesar. Yeah, I was, as an analyst, as somebody who covers college football and is credentialed to do so, I saw a lot of room for improvement. As a fan and an alum, I saw a football team that did exactly what I asked for on Wednesday. They went out there and they laid it all on the line on Saturday. They may have made mistakes along the way, but I didn't see a team that lacked heart. I didn't see a team that lacked fight. I didn't see a team that lacked enthusiasm. I thought I saw a team that understood the gravity of the moment that they were in. the enormity of the moment. And they went out there and they played like it was going to be their last. This was a good, I thought this was a good sign in some ways for Auburn. Now, I would caution fans against thinking that this is just more of the same. No, this looked very different. The result may have felt similar, but this was, I think, an anomaly in what the rest of the season will be for Auburn. If you're Hugh Freeze, you got to validate this fight somehow with a win next week.
Yeah.
I think. I still think Georgia is the beast that is just too big for Auburn for some reason to slay, but get Texas A&M. Nobody will fault you for losing to Georgia, and then go kick butt the 5 games after that. Whoop Missouri's ass. Whoop Arkansas's butt.
Yeah.
Kick out Kentucky. Beat Vanderbilt. Beat Mercer.
You still got everything in front of you. And yes, this schedule seems like it's gotten exponentially difficult. I know it's Georgia State, but Vandy just scored 70 points in a football game. Like, Auburn's schedule has gotten a bit interesting with some teams on the back half looking a lot better than they have. But Auburn looks better than they have. Trust me, the way we look at the Vandys and for some people, Missouri or even Arkansas, teams are looking at Auburn and saying that team is pretty good. And so you can play with some. You went toe-to-toe and got the best, for the most part, of a top 10 team now in Oklahoma. Go on the road and finish the job against another top 10 team in A&M. You know what you're capable of. You know that you can play well. Go out there and do it. Go out there and take advantage of those moments, because you're going to get those moments back in another week when you're on the road at Texas A&M. Seize the moment and play ball. Get the dub. Take care of business and keep everything in front of you.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Man, this was a tough one to swallow. This was a tough one to swallow, I think. And if you're an Auburn fan, please don't hang your head and don't project that negativity onto the players.
Yeah.
Don't project that negativity onto the team. I thought they earned our trust a little on Saturday. I think Coach Hugh Freeze should have owned everybody's trust a little on Saturday. That team looked ready to go to war, and they did that for 60 minutes in this football game. Oklahoma's a good football team. You can't take anything away from them. I think that they were just as prepared to defend their house the way Auburn was prepared to come in there and try to get a win.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. And the other team has to be considered in this. You can't just say, oh, but what if this or what if that? Like, there's a team on the other side of the ball trying to make sure you are not successful at anything that you're doing. And to some extent, they were right. The 9-10 sacks has to be addressed. I think some of that was play calling, personally. But, expecting this O-line to hold up under the conditions that some of these play calls required, I just think maybe there was a plan that could have been mixed in there that just got the ball out of Jackson Arnold's hands faster to not give them the opportunity to do this. I'm not sure if Auburn ran a screenplay in this game.
They did. They ran a couple of sprint, but again, Oklahoma was attacking. They were attacking anything short, anything that was behind the scrimmage, anything like it really and truly the play where Cam Coleman got the no call interference. Eric Singleton had to get rid of that ball. Like, they were crashing down on those types of plays because Auburn had shown screens up to this point, and their game plan was to take all of that away. If it was a run play, if it was a screen, Oklahoma was attacking it. Eric Singleton had to get – the reason why that ball hung up in the air is that Eric Singleton had to just get rid of it the moment he caught it. So there were some plays that Auburn did, and I think the drive that they had where they went up 17-16, you saw them begin to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker with some of those plays. So, yeah, they were there. I would have liked to have seen more of it. But, again, I have to credit Oklahoma's defense. There were some things they absolutely did a good job of taking away.
Yeah. Look, great football team. fantastic football team that I think will go on to make the college football playoff. I was adamant about that before the game. I am even more adamant about that after seeing them in action. That is a vaunted and formidable defense that is not going to – I mean, look, there are teams that are not going to score even 17 on them after this.
Right.
I can't stress that enough, right? Like, there are teams that are going to struggle to get to 20 the same way Auburn did. So expect more of that from the Oklahoma Sooners. Let's get to some comments and let's get out of here. We'll get you guys on with your Sunday. This is the weekend tailgate brought to you by Golden's Cast Iron. We appreciate you guys for sponsoring the show, or patroning the show. Top Flight Security says, this sting's more because I know we are better than that. There is a level of excellence that I can't help but expect from this team as opposed to past year's teams. What about the missed PI on Malcolm?
Yeah.
Do you remember the missed PI? When was that in the game?
I haven't rewatched the game. I don't recall that
blank
one.
here. Yeah. Top Flight. Tell us.
I know what you're talking about. They threw it to him in the end zone. There was one where he was in the end zone and the defender never turned around.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. That was definitely a missed PI.
Yeah.
What happened on that drive? Did Auburn go on to score? Or I don't remember what the outcome of that drive
I don't remember the outcome of that one.
Or was that the missed field goal drive?
No, it wasn't a missed field goal one. I think they scored on that one. They either scored a touchdown or they kicked the field goal.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't even looking for the ball.
Yeah.
He was face guarding, and I mean, their DBs were really physical with these wide receivers. And I think in any other game, you get a lot of defensive holdings and PI calls in any other game.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how they handle that one. Darius Lee, if I'm Freeze, I tell the team now, don't allow for the refs to dictate the outcome. Go out and dominate. AU should play pissed every game now. Yeah, look, that's when you do go back to the tape and you say, Jackson, if you hit this throw when it was there, we maybe win that game. You got to make that throw moving forward. Unjuice yourself just a little bit, son, and make the throw. We know you can make the throw. You made it in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him make multiple throws down the field to Cam Coleman. Just always give the receiver a chance. That's why you went out and you're recruited. Well, I can deal with them. I could deal with tough catches not being made at times because they're defended on 50-50 balls. What is going to be very hard for people to stomach are wide open routes where the receiver has no shot to catch the ball.
And we're not talking about Eric Singleton, who's 5'9" or 5'10". We're talking about 6'2", 6'3" Cam Coleman. You shouldn't overthrow him.
Yeah, you just should not. I don't know. He's got size and speed.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no reason to ever overthrow Cam Coleman, especially when he didn't have a defender within yards of him.
Yeah,
and he got 3-yard cushion. That should be a touchdown every single time.
Right.
I watched him do it in high school, man. He can make every single kind of catch there is. That quarterback at Central Phoenix City, I mean, he was a dream playing with Cam Coleman. There was one touchdown. They had a home game his senior year in high school where they threw a ball in the end zone right around the middle of the end zone by the goalpost.
I think I saw you post about that video.
Yeah, it was behind him, and he just like stops all his momentum and reaches back, and then just all hands too. Catches the football like it was nothing, turns around, does the spin, walks off, dances with the cheerleaders. That's the type of guy you went out and you got it wide receiver. Just don't you? I mean, it's very hard to take him out of a play. So yeah, those throws. As much as I think Jackson did some great things in this game, those throws were particularly egregious to me. So, yeah, this is what this comment speaks to. Like, if you make those plays and the refs don't have a shot to take this game from you. Daniel Denny says A&M gave up 40 to Notre Dame. Yeah, and then they needed special teams and everything to win that one. Auburn should win this football game. Yeah, I almost picked Oklahoma to win this one. I almost nailed that score. I'm starting to feel a little prophetic. I called Baylor 38-21. Auburn won 38-24, and I called Oklahoma 21-17 early, and then the bug got the best of me. But the type of game, it didn't change. I still thought it was going to be close, and I made it clear I would not be surprised if Oklahoma won this football game. But they're a great team. If you're Auburn, not a whole lot to hang your heads about unless you let this game beat you twice, as one of our commenters said. Don't let this game beat you twice. Final thoughts before we get out of here today on the weekend tailgate. Auburn's got to find a way to move forward this week. You're traveling again. You've got to get locked in. You've got to get settled into your game week routine. And you've got to get up for Texas A&M the same way you got up for this game. And then you just got to make those extra plays that are there. I have to believe that when Texas A&M watches the tape of Cam Coleman, they are going to play scared. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the run, first of all, the way that Oklahoma did.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening. So just go ahead and rule that out. But, what do you think, man, about Auburn this week?
You got to like what you've seen in some areas. There's some things to obviously clean up. And I like the fact that the vertical passing game is there. Auburn connected on a couple of those. Auburn was able to – I don't know. I think we need to go back and look at the starting where Auburn started their drives, because there were a couple of times Auburn had poor field position to start their drives. And Auburn was able to get out of a hole on a few of those by some of those long downfield passes to Cam. And I think that's something to build on. I think the game plan was to get Cam behind the defense, which is why we didn't see a lot of short throws to him. But I would like to see them mix in some intermediate stuff, because I'm curious to see what A&M does now that it's proven Auburn can get behind a good defense and punish them, right? So I'm curious to see how they attack Auburn. But again, you have a lot of things in front of you, and you got a lot of things to build on. If I'm Jackson Arnold, to your point, no need to lower your head. Keep your head held high. You played a good game. You didn't turn the ball over. You're not what people said you were. You're not. You're much better than the guy that they said you were. Go out and prove to the world who you believe you are. And it starts with this week at A&M. Go out and make those throws, dude.
I could not agree more. Let's go on and get out of here. I want to thank our friends at Golden's Cast Iron for sponsoring this segment. Our title sponsor, great sponsors. Do us a favor, guys. Join as a member. $5.99 a month will get you there. The War Report burning up the podcast charts right now and the YouTube charts. Sign up for a Patreon membership and subscribe to us on podcasts. We the Auburn Express Uptempo, College Zoop, Just a Sec, and the War Report gaming channels. Lots of great audio-only content for you guys there. You guys have been doing a fantastic job of just subscribing to the content and turning on all alerts for our channel on podcasts. Do us a favor. Do the same on YouTube. Make sure you turn on alerts. This may seem like a small thing to you, but it is a huge thing to the algorithm that you guys turn on alerts. If you don't have them on, there's no guarantee that you're going to get notified when we drop content. And of all the things we ask you guys to do, we need you to just listen. And we appreciate that more than anything. Caesar, we're going to sign on off out of here. We appreciate everybody for joining the show. We'll be back at you guys tomorrow with the Auburn Express bright and early at 7 a.m. We're out of here as always. War Eagle.